What's up, everybody? This is an overview of Geese Howard's special moves and his max mode and how it works in this game. Like most of these 2D hybrid characters, he has special moves that are based on quarter circle motions, the fireballs, shoulder dashes, etc. So the basis of 2D games is being able to do certain attacks and cancel into those. Instead of just doing, let's say, a crouching medium kick and stopping, your crouching medium kick cancels right into the fireball. So Geese has that in this game. He has a certain number of attacks that he can cancel into these special moves as part of a combo or as part of his pressure. So I just want to go over very quickly what his special moves are, how max mode works, and the effects that it has. So his basic special moves are the Replicant, which is quarter circle forward with either punch, left punch or light punch for the 2D character is a single, and right punch or heavy punch for him is a double Replicant. The single one up close is -13 on block, and the double is -19. So it might look like you're very far away, but you are very unsafe if they get these blocks. So please be careful with doing it. You can't just, jab, jab, and then throw this out and expect nothing happens to you. He has Shippoken in the air, which is a jumping quarter circle back punch to do the same fireball. Both punch buttons result in the same fireball. When he throws it, he jumps back. So if they happen to miss, if they sidestep quickly, they can just run up and launch you easily because of the jump back that he takes. So be careful doing that too. These are kind of risky. They're best at that range way out here where you can just sort of throw them out to keep them from doing anything rash. But if you try to use them up close, they're going to get you in trouble. They have their uses in combos and in other situations, but just be careful that they're not safe like they would be in other games. They're very, very risky. His next important special is called Fudoken, which is a quarter circle back with either punch. Left punch is just that single knockdown, like a 15-frame high strike that knocks you down. Heavy punch is a little bit slower and has follow-ups. If you do a 1 afterward, quarter circle back to 1, you get that mid palm strike, which is a natural combo, knocks down, and gives you a good wake-up situation. But that option will be launch punishable if that doesn't connect. His other two choices are 3 or 4 for a mid kick or a low kick. Whoops. So Fudoken into the mid kick looks like that. It's not natural, but they're going to be put in a mix-up situation where you can do the low kick like that. Both of these, when they get hit, will result in a guaranteed ground throw. Let me turn this off and see what it looks like. That throw is free, they can't escape it, they can't do anything about it. So when you're using this move and you see that it's getting blocked, you can switch into the kick mix-up and then get a ground throw for free if they guess wrong. So the mid version is safe, whereas the low version is launch punishable. So keep that in mind too. You do have, if you're hitting them with your strings into this move and everything, if everything is connecting, go ahead and do the mid because it's natural. If they're getting blocked, you might want to switch up into your kick mix-up. And if one of those mix-up connects, you get a guaranteed ground throw. His next special move is called Jaiken, which is a half circle back and either kick button. He dashes forward with a mid shoulder and then follows up. If you do half circle back in 3, it's a high follow-up, which is going to be safe on block. And if you do half circle back 4, he does 2 mids, which are going to be -14 on hit, on block I mean, but he gets a hard knockdown on the ground right in front of him. These are both of his armor moves. The startup of that shoulder dash is armored, so technically they turn into a high armor move, which is safe, and a mid armor move, which is unsafe. It's a pretty good option. It's a little hard at first to get used to doing a half circle motion when you're in trouble and you need a get me out of here move, but you'll get used to it. The half circle back 3 in combos is really good for wall carry. You can see it knocks him about 30 feet back, and half circle back 4 causes a hard knockdown right in front. The next thing that he has as kind of a special move is this. This is forward 1+2. It's kind of reminiscent of the short hop in KOF 14. You can just tap and do a very quick little jump to keep your opponent guessing. That's kind of like that because Tekken doesn't have a multiple jump system. This is forward 1+2, and he can get combos from it, and he can also throw Shippoken from it like that by doing the same quarter circle back pulse punch in the air. Again, if that's the thing that you go for, if that doesn't connect, he can be really unsafe because of the way that he lands. But it also has a couple of other applications too. He has super special moves, which are basically a souped up version of an existing move in most cases. Instead of just doing a quarter circle with punch, you do 2 quarter circles, and both punches to get Raigo Reppuken, which does a big chunk of damage, is plus on block. Like most characters, rage drives. You know, the 2D hybrid characters don't have conventional blue rage drives, they have these super moves. And so they're by and large plus on block. And Geese's Raigo Reppuken is the same thing. It costs 2 of your stocks in order to be able to do it, but once you have those 2 stocks and you can fit this into the combo, you're going to get a nice chunk of damage from doing it. The other one that he has is the Raging Storm, which looks like that. It is minus 17 on block, despite what it looks like, and it pushes you back very far, but if you're a character like Devil Jin with that spear kick or Paul's Death Fist, he can get punished for this one. So this one isn't plus on block like the remaining, like the normal characters, but definitely has a couple of more unique applications. At the wall, it can kind of resplat, it can follow up in combos, lots of cool stuff you can do with that, but it's very risky just to try to do it to catch your opponent off guard. The motion for that is the classic pretzel input, which looks like this. Is down back, then you go to forward and do a half circle backwards, and then down forward 1+2. If you just kind of look, imagine a joystick and go into those motions, it kind of looks like you're drawing out a pretzel. So it's a little complicated and it's very unusual, but you'll get used to it eventually once you practice it enough. You can do some things like a quarter circle back, then a half circle back into down forward, which is useful when you do a cancel out of the light Fudoken, for example. You can just do double half circle back, that way you have like a bit of a rhythm to the motion until you get used to how it's actually done. Once you're in a combo, you can kind of buffer some of the inputs, so if you can just do it correctly fast enough, it'll work out just the same. So he's got a second super option, which is very unsafe, but also has really cool applications that we'll get to more in the combo video later on. His other major feature from his home game is max mode. If he just presses 1, 2, 3, it consumes one of his stocks and that blue meter appears and starts counting down. While he's in this mode, all of his special moves can be done as EX special moves by pressing both buttons. As we said earlier, left punch Reppuken is just a single, and right punch Reppuken is a double. When he's in max mode, and he presses both of them together, he gets a double Reppuken, but instead of being minus 19 on block, it's actually plus 1. So it changes the properties of a lot of his special moves. And in his host game, KOF 14, when you do the EX version of specials, when you get like wall bounces or crumple stuns or something like that. So it's not only enhanced in terms of their speed and their frame data, but as well as the properties that you get from it. So when you're in max mode, instead of having a launch punishable fireball, you have a fireball that's plus on block. His Shippuken, the air fireball, doesn't do the jump back. He lands right in front, which gives you much more time to stay on top of them and makes you less vulnerable to counterattack. So he can even do that out of the forward 1+2 and throw a Shippuken in the air. So that makes that 1,000 times more practical as well. You do quarter circle back 1+2, so the EX version allows him to land very quickly. His Fudoken becomes +1 on block when you do the light punch version. The extender, the mid punch version of the heavy Fudoken, now becomes 0 on block instead of launch punishable. So that's a big difference. When you're in this mode, you can just kind of do that freely and it'll be 0 instead of getting you launched. The result is the same. It's still a natural combo. It still knocks them down. Whereas the 2 kicks out of the Fudoken, instead of just resulting in a knockdown and a ground throw, they can both grant you combos when you're in max mode. Like that. The mid kick will bounce them and let you juggle, or you can do your normal combo stuff there. And the heavy kick version will cause a trip, which you can combo just like the counter hit down 4. It'll be the same kind of knockdown, and you have tons of options to do that. So instead of just getting a guaranteed throw from your mix-up, you get a full combo from your mix-up when you're in EX in max mode. Only if you do the EX version of Fudoken. You can still do a normal one when you're in max mode. It works out just the same, but the EX version of it changes all those properties, usually for the better. Some other differences are like the wall splat, for example. The EX version of Fudoken 1 wall splats, whereas the normal version does not. So things like that, property changes, better frame data, etc., all result from his special moves when they're in EX mode. The Jaiken doesn't really change too much, other than it's the mid version, like the heavy kick, but it is -2 on block instead of 14. So retains its armor, gives you better frame data and the same knockdown and everything. So that's the general trend for doing your EX specials while in max mode, is much better frame data and more beneficial properties from them. The other thing that his max mode does, instead of just activating it while you're standing there by pressing 1+3, excuse me, is you can cancel certain moves into this max mode, like he could in KOF, to continue a combo or continue your momentum. When you're doing this, you don't have to press 1+2+3. You can either do just 1+2, which is how Akuma does his focus attack dash cancel, or you can do 2+3, which is what the buttons were in KOF 14, if you're used to that. So some strings like this, 2 forward 1, you press those two combinations, either of those combinations, and he'll cancel right into max mode and keep going. In some situations, you still have a natural combo there. Just like 88 damage, just like that, from spending 1 meter and canceling into it. In some cases, it'll make moves safe that weren't normally. Like this 2 forward 1 is launch punishable if they block that. But if you max cancel it, they can't do anything to you. Whereas if it connects and you max cancel, you get to continue combos from there. So he has a list of normals and certain attacks that can cancel into max mode and give him combo opportunities, pressure opportunities, as well as unlocking his EX special moves. So that's the gist of how max mode works. When I cover the rest of his move list in another video, I'll go over exactly which attacks can max mode cancel. But the most important one you need is the 2 forward 1. 2 forward 1 is the basis of a lot of things that he does. So being able to max cancel that is a very nice tool.